my name is Putri. I'm from Indonesia and I'm from Bandung Institute University. And this is my paper called Organization Effectiveness Enhancement, a case study of Unit X in a telecommunication company. The background of this paper started from transformation is defined as a fundamental shift in a way that an organization conducts business with an influence on the economy or society. When a company begins its transformation, it enables the company to operate according to the new business strategy that occurs at the organizational, functional, and business unit level, and is driven by behavioral analytics, actuarial skills, and research insights. Therefore, in order to achieve the transformation goals, measuring its organization effectiveness is important. Therefore, in the telecommunication company in Indonesia, rapid changes occurred in the organization during transformation, which led to the emergence of issues in Unit X. Thus, the organization effectiveness and change readiness survey in Unit X needs to be measured to understand what lacks the company and to accelerate and maximize its digital transformation. And then this is my research question. The biggest question is, what factors influence the organization effectiveness and what aspect the change readiness influence the organization effectiveness in Unit X? This is the research framework that I use. And this is the two literature study I use. First is change readiness and the second is organizational effectiveness. This is the change readiness I used from Daniel T. Holt in 2007. This is the 4 factor in change readiness. The first is appropriateness, management support, change efficacy, and personally beneficial. And the second literature study I use is organizational effectiveness from Federman in 2006. And in this paper, I use one model. This is the previous model that I customized. I developed into the new model. This is the 12 instrument of organizational effectiveness after I customized. The substantial is leadership, talent management, accountability, communication, training and development, technology savvy, innovation, knowledge management, strategic planning, organizational culture, and resource and stability. Okay, next, this is the conceptual framework I use. This is my hypothesis. So change readiness is affecting the organizational effectiveness. So whatever happens in a change readiness factor is affected the organizational effectiveness. And then my consideration to put resource in the animation is this. You can see. And this is the consideration of putting stability in the new dimension. So this is the score of the organizational effectiveness in Indonesian Unit X. The organizational effectiveness achieved 86.52% and change readiness score is 88%. Even though all of those is categorized as high, but there is still a lack of improvement in this company. And this is the lack of organizational effectiveness in Unit X. The first is accountability, knowledge, training and development, leadership, organization culture, and resource. According to the survey, there are several dimensions that have a value or score lower than the average score of organization effectiveness, which is 6.0 out of 7. And the dimension that cannot pass the average score is considered as the dimension that needs to be improved. And this is my business solution to improve Unit X. In the factor of accountability, knowledge management, training and development, they have to be a proactive mindset, reskilling the professionals, upgrade skill, and this is for a leader to have a good leadership. And this is for the talent management. They have to have a proper management, directing, and able to convert their abilities. And this is from the organizational culture and from resource. And the last is the change readiness survey. The dimension that cannot pass the change readiness average is change efficacy and management support, which scored below the average score, which is 6.16 out of 7. And this is the business solution to enhance the change management, change efficacy and management support. Okay, that's all my presentation today. And is there anything open for questions?
I'll start. So my name is Aditya Prakash. I'm a fourth year, 7th semester computer engineering student, and I'm pursuing my Bachelor of Engineering from Institute of Engineering and Technology, theIIer University from Indore, India. I wrote this paper on early heart attack detection systems in cooperation with my colleague Mihir Prakash, and under the mentorship of our professor, Dr. Pratosh Bansal sir. So this paper, as the name suggests, we want to develop a system that can detect heart attacks at an early stage. So the World Health Organization estimates that cardiovascular diseases cause over 17.9 million deaths each year. And this figure is almost 1/3 of all the global deaths. And 85% of these deaths were due to heart attacks. And recent studies since 2012 have shown that deaths due to cardiovascular diseases have been increasing rapidly. So the goal of this paper is to discuss various methods and ideas that can be used to detect heart attack at an early stage and prevent a loss of life. And these methods should be cost-effective, readily available, reliable, and should have a high rate of efficiency. So before we can dive further into the methods that I have discussed, we must first understand the factors that cause a heart attack. So I have divided these factors into two. The first one is the genetic factors. So these may be the genes that we inherit from our parents. Maybe we have a history of heart disease in our family. So that disease will be caused due to a genetic factor. And secondly, we have the lifestyle factors. Most of the heart attack diseases, they emerge from these lifestyle factors. These include a sedentary diet, which has a high level of fat and cholesterol, minimum activity, excessive drug and alcohol usage, as well as daily stress in our day-to-day routine. So to figure out the actual ways we can detect and identify a heart attack before its onset, we can look at three factors, that is blood pressure and arrhythmia, facial expressions, sweating patterns, voice analysis, and sound analysis. So in the coming slides, I will be discussing these in more detail. Okay, so blood pressure is the first factor. So previous research has established that a high blood pressure can lead to an increased chance of heart attack in future. This is because as the blood pressure rises above the normal level, there is wear and tear in the blood vessels of the body, in which the sediments in the blood, such as fat, cholesterol, or basically anything, can start to accumulate, and that can create a clot. And a clot will prevent the blood from flowing into the heart, which will create a heart attack. So this is the number one factor. Secondly, arrhythmia, although not directly known to cause heart attack and is very normal. Actually, arrhythmia happens in all individuals on a daily basis. Just that it is very uncommon and happens just once or twice a day. But repeated arrhythmia can lead to a heart attack because it can be an indicator of an underlying heart disease. So to figure out a way, we can use smartwatches to figure out a way to monitor these and chart a history of the patient, of the individual, to figure out if they are at a risk of heart attack. Secondly, there is a computer vision based solution as well. It can work from a smartphone camera or basically any camera, your laptop camera, computer camera. So using these, using this computer vision technology, we can use local binary pattern, LBP, to divide the face of an individual into several quadrants and identify those quadrants individually to figure out what his facial expression is trying to convey. Now, it can be pain, it can be discomfort, it can be anxiety. These can all be detected via a local binary pattern. And these are indicative of heart attacks as established by previous research done in the past. Lastly, we have the voice and sound analysis. An everyday mic can be used to analyze the sound patterns of an individual, his voice and his tone modulation, pitch, to detect whether he's feeling pain or discomfort in his speech. Moreover, in addition to voice analysis, we can actually listen to irregularities in the heartbeats. Maybe one beat is much stronger than the other, or there are irregular beats. The rhythm is not very constant. These can be indicative of an underlying heart health problem as well. So using these, we can figure out different patterns, we can chart a graph that can allow us to predict whether an individual will be at a risk of a heart attack or not. So these were the three factors that can be used to develop a device in future, which will be able to predict heart attacks at an early stage. Thank you so much for listening to my presentation.
Good afternoon to everyone. Myself, Uma Maheshwar. I'm a research scholar from VNR VJIT and the affiliated JNT Hyderabad. I'm doing research under the guidance of Dr. S. Rajendra Prasad sir, and that is his department of his head and professor of Department of University. And my topic, my work is the design and performance analysis of various leakage reduction techniques for SRAM cell. So these are my list of contents. That is design introduction and problem definition, and design performances of Command 60 SRAM and different kinds of techniques what I use. So if we go for introduction, like as we know that every computers and smartphones everywhere use this memory. So in that memory, the main capacity is a static random access memory that will use on chip memory for cache memory. So majorly, whenever use these types of memories, there is a problem we face, that is leakage power is a major issue for that. And as you go for going technology down, that is scaling, then we want to increase the speed and the frequency of operation, but resulting in higher performance, but at the same time the power dissipation it increases. So for that we take necessary steps to compensate for increase in the power dissipation, that is varying of threshold voltage. And so in this we use different techniques to reduce the leakage power for the SRAM. So the problem definition is so as we go for a lower nanometer technologies beyond 32 nanometer technologies, so there is a leakage power. So more. So in order to decrease that leakage power, here I'm using a different leakage reduction techniques at different technology nodes and comparing with that each other. So this is my objective, that is to design, analyze, and performance of SRAM cell in terms of leakage power by applying a different leakage detection techniques. So this is a basic 60 SRAM cell, that is a back-to-back conventional connected with inverters, and there's a pull-up and pull-down transistors and pass gate transistors. The major SRAM cell what we perform has a write and read operations. So while performing write and read operations, there is a problem of leakage power. So what is actually the basic write and read operations of SRAM cell is when you want to write SRAM cell data. So we have some steps. We have to make the word line equal to high, and bit line equal to high, and bit line bar equal to low. And then based on the node voltages at the QB, that if we say QB equal to 0, that as we know QB equal to 0, that turns on the pull-up transistor P1 and turn off the PD1, so that Q will be high. So in that manner, we'll write the data into the cell. Similarly, if you want to read the data from the cell, we make both the bit lines and bit line bar to high, and based on the potential differences between the BL bit line and Q and the bit line bar and QB, there is a difference in the potential difference. From that, we can detect the data in the cell. These are the basic read and write operation of 6 SRAM cell. So these are simulation results for the basic 60 SRAM cell. So write and read operations. So these are the technology nodes, a different technology node, that is what I use supply voltage 0.9 for 60 nanometer and 20 nanometer 0.9 and 22 0.95 31 nanometer. So the tools used is Synopsys H5 tool. So these are the leakage results for 60 SRAM cell at different technology nodes. So as we see that lower in the technology, the leakage power is increased. So applying that leakage reduction techniques to SRAM cell, these are the different leakage reduction techniques applied to that 60 SRAM cell. If we consider the first one, that is dual threshold asymmetric ST SRAM cell. Here I'm using the two different threshold voltage, that is low threshold voltage and high threshold voltage. So as we need that earlier, so low threshold voltage will increase the speed and high threshold voltage will decrease the power. So in that manner, I'm able to decrease the power and as well as maintain the speed. So this is a leakage reduction results for a dual threshold symmetric SRAM cell. Similarly, if you go for a dual threshold asymmetric SRAM cell, so here I'm using only a particular where critical path is mentioned. At the critical path, I'm using high threshold voltage. Remaining ways, I'm using low threshold voltage. So by this, I'm able to reduce the further leakage power. So these are the simulation results for dual threshold asymmetric SRAM cell at different technology nodes. As we go from 32 to 16 nanometer, the leakage power is decreased. So this is other technique, that is the gated VDD NMOS 60 SRAM cell. And the gated VDD NMOS 60 SRAM cell, we have the control over the NMOS, that is M7 transistor. So whenever the cell is active, then only it will be turned on, and when it is cell is inactive, it will turn it off. By this way, we are reducing the power. That is one kind of technique. So these are the simulation results for the gated VDD NMOS cell. Similarly, if we go for a gated PMOS, earlier we have seen NMOS, now we are using PMOS at the between the supply and the both terminals of PMOS M1 and M2. So here gated VDD and PMOS transistor used. So it is also similarly reduce the leakage power, that is from 32 nanometer to 60 nanometer. These are the simulation results. So if we see that data retention gated ground is 60 SRAM cell, here I'm using a M7 transistor which is controlled by word line. Okay, when the gated transistor turns on and 0 nodes returns to the ground and discharges the one of bit lines. So the value stored in the SRAM cell can be retained till the gating transistor off. So in this manner, the power is reduced. These are the simulation results. So if we see stacked SRAM cell, so this technique uses a duplicate transistor for every transistor in the network. So each transistor is based off the original transistor width. So that due to the what happens as duplicate transistor produce a low reverse current from the gate to source. So the overall leakage current will be reduced. So these are the simulation results for stacked SRAM cell. So if we compare the different comparison of different leakage reduction techniques applied to SRAM cell 32 nanometer technologies. So you can see at all the technologies applied at 32 nanometer technologies are different leakage power. So power is reduced, and this is at a 22 nanometer technology, and this is at a 20 nanometer technology, and this is at a 16 nanometer technology. So if you observe the percentage of power decrease at different technology nodes, so you can see at 16 to 32 to 16 nanometer, a dual threshold symmetric and stacked technique has a more amount of decrease in the power dissipation. That is that these techniques are reducing the power. That dual threshold and acetamic and symmetric techniques, and compared with that, because as we go for a lower technologies, this is why it must be useful. So overall, the result summary. So that is dual threshold technique and stack reduce the higher leakage reduction as compared to other technique. That is overall 76.4% over the conventional 60 SRAM cell by using the stacked and asymmetric threshold technique. These are my references. Thank you.
Thank you, for your wonderful presentation.
Myself, Supriya Kumar Majumdar. I am a research scholar doing my part-time management from ICFI University, Jaipur. My guide is Dr. Priyanka Jain. She is also associate professor in the same university. And my presentation is regarding the future potential of renewable energy in India, a review. As far as the introduction part is concerned, sir, energy is the most vital building blocks in human development and key factor influence the sustainable development of any nation. It is a prime factor for economic growth, social and industrial development of a country. And likewise, I have presented and submitted one pie chart regarding India's installed power capacity by fuel, which is reflected in the enclosed pie chart. The uses of renewable energy sources is a promising prospect for the future as an alternative to conventional energy. Therefore, in this paper, an attempt has been made through this to review the availability of renewable energy options in India and provides information about the current status of renewable, future potential of their uses, major achievements, and current government policies, delivery, and outreach in Indian context. It paints a remarkable overall picture of renewable energy sources and position of India in utilizing these resources. Now the second part is reflected by the renewable energy development in India, how much we have developed. As far as this aspect is concerned, energy is a basic requirement for economic development and every sector of Indian economy. It is thus necessary that India quickly look towards new and emerging renewable energy and energy efficient technologies, as well as implement energy conservation laws. Here I have projected a pie chart describing the total energy consumption in India. After that, sir, India's renewable energy potential has been mentioned in the table below. Current potential of renewable energy in India and installed capacity of power in India has also been reflected in the figures. Installed energy in India capacity in India, according to the investor guide Reinvest 2020, the total installed renewable energy capacity is 138.9 GW, out of which wind energy is 37.7 GW and SHP, biomass, solar are 49.1 GW respectively. Following is the figure reflected in the chart. Year by year, electricity production growth in India is concerned. It is reflected in this chart, bar chart. And here we have seen, we are going to acknowledge that the production is increasing year by year. I have taken the figure from 2009 to 2018-19, and it has been observed that the production is increasing year by year. As far as the renewable energy are concerned, there are the types are solar energy. India, as far as solar energy is concerned, India has an predictable solar power potential of about 1 lakh MW, out of which the total installed capacity as of 31st March 21 was 40,000 MW. In addition to solar energy, wind energy has also been a great prospect. India has an expected wind power potential of 60,000 MW, out of which the total installed capacity was on 31st March 21 was 39,000 MD. It is also small hydropower, HP potential also is there. India has an expected small hydropower less than 25 MW, potential of around 20,000 MW, out of which the total installed capacity of as of 31st March 19 was 3816.91 MD. Hydro projects India, which are under 25 MW capacity, are classified as small hydropower and considered as a renewable energy source. That biomass and biogas energy is also a renewable energy form. India has an estimated biomass power potential of around 17,536 MW, out of which the total installed capacity as of 31st March was 1914.50 MW. I have projected a table here explaining the biomass, bagases, and all the grid connected and capacity installed. Further, the cumulative achievement so far being achieved in MW from renewable energy sources is reflected in this chart. which indicates that the scope and potential of renewable energy in India is very bright. After that, I have also projected table number 5, which may kindly be seen, in which the targets set by the JNNM-SM are as follows, which is being reflected in 11th plan, 12th plan, and 13th plan. As far as the future potential of renewable energy sources is concerned, India has a lot of potential for renewable energy. Solar is the prime free source of inexhaustible energy available to us all. And to make the country self-sufficient in electricity, large number of solar energy projects are to be installed. This would also reduce CO2 carbon dioxide in the air, and also this will further reduce the air pollution. Hence, the initiative can be taken to provide clean and green energy to the common people, as the energy demand since last few years had been increased. Recently, one of the appreciative initiatives taken by Lokmat newspaper was installation of own solar energy project in Butibori MIDC area in Nagpur. In the table 4, I have mentioned and projected the state-wise cumulative achievement of energy by 2022. Here, the provisional state-wise breakup of renewable power to be achieved by the year 2022 is reflected. As far as the achievement of India in the renewable energy sector is concerned, we can say that India has today become the most attractive destination for investment in the renewable sector. During the last 6 years, the renewable energy sector has attracted over rupees 4.7 lakh crores of investment, including foreign direct investment of about 42,700 crore. India witnessed 20% CAGR growth in renewable generation since financial year 16, while total electricity generation saw 4.3% growth in the same period. The current cost of energy, that is LCOE, for large-scale solar in India has reduced to around rupees 25 per kilowatt compared to 12 in 2010. As far as the figure is concerned, India is now in the 4th global position for overall installation renewable energy capacity. Renewable energy has a share of 26.53% of the total installed generation capacity in our country. Renewable energy installed capacity increased to 86% in the last 7.5 years. Highest ever wind capacity addition of 5.5 GW in 21-22. The world's largest renewable energy park of 30 GW capacity solar wind hybrid projects is under installation in Gujarat. Concluding the portion, I am to say that energy security, economic growth, and environment protection are the national energy policy drivers of any country of the world. The need to boost the effort for further development and promotion of renewable energy sources has been felt world over in the light of the high prices of crude oil. A critical part of the solution will lie in promoting renewable energy technologies as a way to address concern over energy security, economic growth in the face of rising energy prices, competitiveness, health cost, and environmental degradation. The country's vision is to achieve net zero emissions by 2070, in addition to attaining the short-term targets, which include increasing renewable capacity to 500 GW by 2030, meeting 50% of energy requirement from renewables, reducing cumulative emission by 1 billion tons by 2030. I have consulted the following references, and this is my presentation. The time has come to switch over from non-renewable to renewable energy for green technology, green power, etc. And this is my presentation. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for your valuable information. Very good information we understood and we learned from your presentation. Thanks a lot.
Thanks a
We
lot.
will get in touch. So request you to share your title and your area of research work and email ID in the chat box so we can get in touch post the event also. Thank you.
Okay, thanks. Thanks a lot, sir.
Great to all of us. So my name is Jerry P. Lopez, and I'm taking my doctor in information technology at the University of the Cordilleras here in the Philippines. So here is my research entitled Designing a Framework for Monitoring, Control, and Distribution of Irrigation Water for Paddy. Okay, so as part of the introduction, so fresh water is a gift from God and is very important to everyone, especially to farmers. Fresh water includes inland waters such as lakes, rivers, reservoirs, and swamps, and groundwaters. Irrigation requires natural water resources such as fresh water. Irrigation is vital to agricultural system, especially to farmers producing rice crops. Irrigation needs large amount of water to supply the entire field uniformly. So the irrigation system needs to be monitored along control and distribution of water in the field. So currently, there are 3 types of irrigation systems in the Philippines, namely national irrigation system, communal irrigation system, and private irrigation system. At present, irrigation system in the Philippines is encountering issues on insufficient water supply, unsuitable design, and difficulties in operation such as monitoring, control, and distributing water and maintenance, which leads to poor performance. In addition, a typical irrigation system wastes on average 30% of the water used due to poor management and configuration. To address the problems issues identified, the researcher designed an architectural framework for monitoring, control, and distribution of irrigation water for paddy. So this framework uses Internet of Things to provide an effective and efficient tool for monitoring, control, and distribution of irrigation water for rice paddies. So in terms of methodology, so I use qualitative approach applying focus group discussion. So the respondents were selected using purposive sampling. And the respondents includes operation and maintenance officer and field staff of the National Irrigation Administration. The selected participant joined in the focus group discussion through online meeting. So an in-depth informal interview with the respondents was also conducted by the researcher to gather more information needed in building an architectural framework. In addition, a literature review was done also in order to come up with ideas about the right architectural framework for this study. Furthermore, to showcase the flow of the proposed architectural framework, the researcher used system methodologies such as flowcharting and block diagram. So here is the result of the data gathering conducted by the researcher using the online meeting. And I also distributed a questionnaire through online using Google Form. As you can see here in table 1, we have here the existing process of monitoring, control, and distribution of irrigation water. So at present, the National Irrigation Administration, in terms of monitoring of irrigation water, so this is actually operated by the operation and maintenance personnel, and it is the one who usually conduct monitoring of irrigation water from diversion dam to main canals going to the irrigations. And there are some devices they are currently using, like stop gadgets, current meter, and drones. Now, in terms of controlling of irrigation water, the in-charge personnel is also the same, which is the operation and maintenance personnel. And he is the one who controls the water through the use of the gates and structures, especially during critical period. So they have the same devices or gadget being used in this process. And we had distribution of irrigation water was also done by the operation and maintenance personnel. So he is the one who deliver water from dam to head gate of main canal. So the obligation of farmers, irrigators, irrigations association under contract distribute irrigation water from head gates to lateral canal and rice field. Table 2 shows the issues problem encountered during monitoring, control, and distribution of irrigation water. So this is in addition to the problems being discussed a while ago. So these are some of the responses of the respondents. So number one, we have the difficulties in monitoring and controlling the irrigation water, difficulty in applying a small amount of irrigation water, farmers diverting irrigation water illegally, and garbage disposal of some residents to irrigation canal. Now, the next one is the proposed architectural framework. So in this flow, I discussed the architectural framework, the proposed architectural framework, wherein it will start with the sensors, and these sensors will actually check the water level. If the water level is already in its maximum level, then it will automatically check the schedule, which of these irrigation will be given the water or distributing the water for this irrigation. And then it will automatically open the gates going to lateral canal of the target area. And then we have, so we have again an input there from the water flow sensor. If the water being distributed is already met, or the volume being needed to be distributed is already met, so it will now be automatically close the gate, and it will go back again to the water level sensor to check again the water level. So using flow charting, I make sure that the flow of my proposed architectural framework is already included in here. So the next one is the block diagram of the proposed architectural framework. So as you can see in this figure, so we have here the power supply, water level sensor, water flow sensor. So these two sensors are in charge of checking the level and the volume of the water. And I have here the Wi-Fi featured microcontroller that will actually send messages to the operator, which is the one who will going to open or close the gate for the release of water. So, and on the right side, we have here the another figure, which is the proposed architectural framework again, but this time you can see the flow of the on how the water will be released from the main dam, going to the gates and going to the target irrigation. And these are the proposed sensors, actuators, and electronic components that I'll be needing to come up with the proposed architecture. By the way, I am planning to continue this research and be my dissertation in my doctoral degree. So we have here some of the sensors, actuators, and electronic components. So such as water flow sensor, water level sensor, Wi-Fi featured microcontroller, relay module, solenoid valve, AC water pump, and DC rechargeable battery. As a conclusion, so based on the findings, there were several issues, problems in the existing system, specifically in monitoring, control, and distribution of water in the body of National Irrigation Administration. Hence, the proposed architectural framework for monitoring, control, and distribution of irrigation water for paddy will help the NIA to simplify their operations and will provide effective and the ability to use fewer resources, lesser checking and maintenance of facilities, and flexible and easy to implement. And here is my recommendations. So the findings of the research will be a big help to the farmers of Camarines Norte here in the Philippines, so especially to NIA, who operate the irrigation system of the province. Thus, I would like to recommend the following: implementation of the proposed architectural framework for monitoring, control, and distribution of irrigation water for paddy. The NIA administrator should support and provide all the needed hardware and software for the proposed architectural framework, and a regular meeting with the farmers to discuss issues concerned regarding the irrigation. So that's all, and thank you.
Thank you, sir. Hope to see the working model. Wonderful work with respect to your presentation. We'll be in touch. Sir, please share your email address. Thanks a lot.
Okay.
I'm Hadi Tagabian from Technical University of Liberec in the Czech Republic, and I am a representative of a group led by the Professor Chernik and Dr. Lukas Dewurzak, and I'm really delighted to share with you my latest results of a recent investigation entitled High Functional Skin Layer Modification of Polytetrafluoroethylene Hollow Fiber Membrane with you. But first of all, in the introduction part, I want to pay your attention to the remarkable properties of the Teflon, which makes it suitable material to make the hollow fiber membrane using in the water filtration. This Teflon type material offers using for the hollow fiber membrane offers the low investment. So it's economically friendly and low occupied space demand per module volume it demands, and also it prepared the high selective separation and high quality of effluents. But in comparison with other types of the hollow fibers, it offers higher flexibility and high range of thermal functionality. However, existence of elements in the backbone of this polymer attracts the non-polar fullants to attack to the surface and creates the fouling of the membrane. As the membrane existence existence in the bioreactor surrounded by the inorganic, organic, and microorganisms, and as it does, it gets full during the operation. Development of these humic acids together with the microorganisms and in the presence of the protein on the membrane surface are the main causes of the fouling of the membrane to create a cake layer. And because of this, it leads to the inefficiency operation and declining the shelf life of the membrane. So, in this case, we have to find a surface modification technique in order to reduce the fouling rate of this membrane. The concept that we use for the surface modification of the membrane stands on a bio-inspired technique by taking advantage from the dopamine hydrochloride and polymerize it on the surface of this polymer because of this remarkable advantages that it provides to us. First of all, is that the bio-inspired technique, which is in the water treatment system, is quite desirable. And the second thing is a facile and versatile approach, and it offers a higher additive attachment and ultra high hydrophilicity. And also, in some literatures, it claims that it offers the antimicrobial property and also claim to contain portable immobilization capability. That we return to this question in the results section. If it offers, if they provides these properties or not. The methodology that we used to prepare the surface modification starts by the module preparation, and then starting on the polymerization of the dopamine hydrochloride in the alkaline solution prepared by the three-space buffer. But it can be connected to the air compressor in order to stimulation of the polymerization, because it is a the oxide active, that the whole surface smoothly created the growth of the dopamine nanoparticles on the surface. And we tried with and without aeration, and we realized that the existence of the aerated technique has the remarkable and significant difference between them. And without the aerated system, we cannot get the good surface modification. The chemical structure of the polymerization can be seen in these slides, which the dopamine hydrochloride oxidized to create a complex form, and after rearrangement we have two complex item A and item B, which can both of them starts the polymerization covalent bonding from the carbon number 1 and carbon number 4 in cyclopent, and carbon number 1 in cyclopentane. And it creates the polymers on the surface, not only by the covalent bond, but also the hydrogen bonds. And in here in these slides, I pay attention to the SEM results of this surface modification. And as you can see in the in the lower magnification, there is no any big difference between the modification, but in a higher magnification, you can see by increasing the polymerization time from 4 hours to 14 hours, and finally, eventually to the 24 hours, the whole surface unanimously and uniformly covered by the dopamine hydrochloride, polydopamine. And also, with and without the air-assisted system, you can see a big difference after 24 hours of the polymerization. So we can it has been demonstrated air-assisted system on these slides. Polymerization time demonstrated by increasing the polymerization of the dopamine on the surface, the permeability decreasing. So this is some kind of the time-dependent polymerization and technique. And also, we conclude that this surface modification is quite effective in making the surface of the Teflon, which is known as one of the most hydrophobic material, to completely hydrophilic. This is also supported by the water contact angle results, that the water contact angle reduced from the 120 degrees in the natural and pristine membrane to the 0, which turns to be the super hydrophilic after 24 hours. And also results of the FTIR suggest that the satisfactory existence of the dopamine hydrochloride on the surface of the Teflon, which is it demonstrated the existence of this on the surface and the satisfactory polymerization on the surface, and also the flux recovery of this membrane carries out after the filtration of the bovine serum albumin. And as you can see, the dopamine hydrochloride after 24 hours can recover 65% of the the initial flux after second washing of the filtration of the distilled water, and also it reduces the total fouling, and also reduces the irreversible fouling rates. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you for your wonderful.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Let's introduce myself. I'm Mario Di Brasio from Electrical Engineering Department, 10 November Institute of Technology, Indonesia. I will present our research with the title is Harmonic Assessment in Low Voltage Network Photovoltaic Inverter using ETA Power Station 20.5.0. Installation of PV grid-tied system must give attention to voltage suitability, phase sequence, and frequency. So we must install inverters as function of reliability to convert DC to AC voltage. Meanwhile, the inverter give impact for the system, like protection coordination failure, high conductor loss, voltage fluctuation, harmonic distortion, and grid-side interference. According to the budget and seeing research, the application of renewable energy will never reach full penetration capability unless the problem of harmonics is handled thoroughly. Therefore, many researchers have tested the inverter to analyze generation and the impact of the harmonic to the system. The example is research from Rampinelli 2015 about 10 measurements of inverter at the Solar Energy Laboratory at the Federal University to know the impact of harmonics. The other research from Elcoli 2019 is about the measurement on low voltage network at the Electronic Research Institute building in 2 power factor operations. So we change field measurement into simulation at ETA Power Station to find the characteristics of the THD inverter for unity and 85% power factors. We also compare the result of simulation using mathematical calculations. So we can use calculation or simulation to know the characteristic of the PV system before doing construction. And then the research flow starts from the drawing the SLD, input irradiation, then running the program at ETA Power Station. From the data, we check generation from the PF and the current THD inverter. From data, we validate with mathematical calculation using MATLAB. And then it is the software that we use in our research. We use ETA Power Station 20.5.0 and MATLAB R 2021B. And then this figure is single line diagram that we use in this research. And then it is the irradiance data sourced from the Global Solar Atlas at Surabaya, Indonesia. And then the result of irradiance and power factor generation that operated at 100% and 85%. According to this diagram, inverter generates the power in the irradiance around 300 watt per meter square after that steady state at the setting point of power factor. This condition evidenced by the condition active and reactive power that generates at each irradiance change at 100 power factor level at 100% and 85%. The characteristic this operated inverter also shown by this figure. The low irradiance give high current THD at and in increase of irradiance make the THD I declining down in logarithmic. The TFDI also doesn't change significantly, start from 300 watt per meter square. And then we calculate the result from etap analysis using power factor and current THD equation. From this equation, we have a power factor and current THD coefficient that represent by inverter system character for 100% and 85%. It is the power factor coefficient, and it is current THD coefficient. So for the calculation, we get the comparison between etap simulation and mathematical calculation for power factor and current THD curve. From the figure, we also know that the curve between etap and mathematical calculation are similar. That means etap and mathematical model can use to planning the PV system for analysis generation and current THD. From the analysis, we also know voltage and current spectrum harmonic for each irradiance as shown the figure. The voltage and current harmonic spectrum at its actual per phenomenal. And then the figure below is voltage harmonic spectrum during irradiance at 5% phenomenal and 50% phenomenal. And it is the current harmonic spectrum during irradiation at 5% phenomenal and 50% phenomenal. Then the conclusion. The first, when testing the effect of irradiance level on power factor, the value of power factor start to rise at an irradiance value of 300 to 20 watt per meter square. It stabilized at 350 watt per meter square according to its inverter generation setting. A similar condition can be seen in the relation between current THD and irradiance level. At a low irradiance level, the THD value is very high and slowly drops, then stabilized at 320 watt per meter square. The second, on the mathematical calculation of power factor and current THD on the actual or phenomenal, the curve result shows a valid relation with etap power station simulation. This condition is shown by the identicality of the curve shape between the mathematical result and the etap power station result. And the third, the contribution of each harmonic component in the system is based on the inverter type and the grid condition, so that the rest or drop of each harmonic component is different. However, the THD value still depends on the load level on the inverter or the actual per phenomenal. Thank you. That's all our presentation.
Thank you for your wonderful presentation, sir.
Everybody. My name is Tan Xiang from Manly Technological University from Myanmar, and I would like to share this presentation as a title for the 4 type classifications of radial distribution system based on WC wavelength. Outlines of presentation is divided into the 5 sections. Number 1 for the introduction, number 2 for the applications of wavelet transform, number 3 for the proposed methodology, and the proposed methodology is divided into 2 sessions: the case selections and data collection, the modeling and wavelet application, number 4 for the simulation results and analysis, and number 5 for the conclusions. Aims and objectives. The main aims of this paper is to have the minimize the time needed to find the problem and repair the system, to speed up the power supply re-establishment through the network restoration. And the objectives for this paper is to collect and use the data for model analysis, to study and behaviors of fault and classification, to study the evaluations for different types of fault with failure for resistance and distribution line length, to find the fault phase, to find the fault location by using the theories of traveling waves. Introduction. Fault mainly occur in the distribution system because of the complexities of topological structures, multiple branch, non-symmetrical conductor, and time-varying load and weather conditions, etc. The durations of a power shortage depend on the severities of fault. Faster detections of faults help in more rapid continuations of power supply restoration that lead to power system reliability and specifications of customer need. Power system faults are classified into the two types: symmetrical fault, three-phase fault, three-phase to ground fault, and symmetrical fault, single line to ground fault, line-to-line fault, double line to ground fault, and three-phase faults. And the applications of wavelet transform. The wavelet transform provides an adjective time frequency window compared with the short time Fourier transform (STFT). The window automatically becomes narrower when observing at high frequencies and where it becomes wider when researching at low frequencies. The wavelet transform is a two-dimensional dimensional for the times and the frequency, and it also compared to the times to the frequencies and also compared to the frequency to the time by this equation. And figure 1 illustrates for the wavelet transform. And Davrichis wavelet. The family is a Davrichis, is an honor of an increased Davrichis, and the short name is a dB. The aura is a number of 1 to 45. It's a positive integer. This is a sample number from the dB2 to dB10. The most important power section in this paper is used for the dB4 wavelet. Applications of wavelet transform. The approximations are the high scale, low frequency components of a signal, and these are the low scale, high frequency component. When the signal is mixed with a short pass of noise and is passed with a low pass beta and high pass beta to get the approximations and the delay coefficients. The approximation coefficient is get by passing the low pass beta 1 by root 2 ck. Root 2 ck is a low pass beta leading then to the low signal frequency and hence a smooth versions of the signal, and 1 by root 2 pk is the high pass beta leading to the high frequency corresponding to the signal. And this slide shows the proposed methodology. The proposed methodology. When a fault occurs on the power system, the voltage and current value increase rapidly depending on the fault resistance. In this paper, the only fault associated fault current values used to classify the fault type. The fault current is transformed to the different frequency band by using a discrete wavelet transform. Among the discrete wavelet transform, Davrichis wavelet dB4 is widely used in the power system application. Therefore, the different frequency bands decompose into delay coefficients with the decomposition level 1 by the dB4. The delay coefficients values of the fault network for different fault resistance were collected, and optimized values for each fault phase were used to define the threshold values. Based on the threshold value, the fault type can be classified correctly. The proposed research methodology is shown in the figure 4. It's for the case study and data collection. The case study is only for use in the Milbian distribution network. It's a 40 branch beta, 33 kV bus beta. It's transforming from the 230 to 33 by using the step down transformer. The conductor size is 185 millimeters square, and current transformer ratio is 200 to 400, and the secondary is 0.5 ampere. This is a technical parameter for the source and transformer and line and load. Modeling and wavelet application. The modeling is different types of fault were simulated using the Davrichis wavelet applications in MATLAB simulation environment. This is a source from the Milbian substation, and this is a transformer to convert the 230 to 33 transport to convert the 230 to 33 Fourier level. And this is a distribution lineage parameter. The parameters are used to obtain to correct the data for the fault type. This is a normal condition for the recorded current waveform by using the MATLAB simulation. This is a recorded current found and the single line to ground fault condition. This is the applications of the WC wavelet DV4 for the voltage signal, and the maximum threshold values is used for to define the threshold value for each phase. This is a simulation process and analysis. Grounded and ungrounded faults are classified by using the absolute maximum values of the TD coefficients of grounded condition. A threshold values of 0.001 is used in the system because the residual current can be accumulated under system balance condition. Whereas this value may be 0 under system balance condition, the value greater than the threshold is considered to be grounded condition, whether it is ungrounded condition. And the table shows for the recess for the grounded and ungrounded faults. The threshold value in this condition are used is as a 0.001. This is for the grounded. This slide shows for the grounded fault classification. The threshold values of the grounded fault for phase A and the phase B and the phase C is shown in the table. And if the DD coefficient value is greater than the threshold value, is considered to be the faulted phase. Otherwise, it's a healthy phase. Table 2 shows the result for the grounded fault. This slide shows the ungrounded fault classification. The threshold values of the ungrounded fault for phase A, phase B, and phase C are shown in the table. And if the DD coefficient value is greater than the threshold value, it is considered to be the faulted phase. Otherwise, it's a healthy phase. Table 3 show for the results for the ungrounded fault. This slide shows the conclusions. The classifications of the fault type in radial distribution network by using the signal processing technique. WC wavelet with DD coefficient level 1 are used considered to find the different fault type. The generated faulted current IBICs are applied into the DB4 wavelet with the multi-level decompositions of DD coefficient level. And these coefficient levels are compared with their optimal associated threshold value. The system is tested with different threshold condition values, and these threshold values are tested with various distant conditions. The proposed methods give the correct identifications of fault types in the radial distribution system. And this slide shows for the reference, and thank you for your attention.
Thank you for your wonderful presentation.
Shrivastava, Kadi Sharma Vishwavidyalaya, Gandhinagar, Gujarat. My topic is a study on the attitude of BA teachers trainee towards teaching profession. Electronic learning on e-learning. Electronic learning or e-learning is educational based on modern method of communication, including the computer and its network, various audiovisual materials, search engine, electronic libraries, and website, whether accomplished in the classroom or at a distance. Sir, I share my PPT. E-learning saves time and money. With online learning, learner can access content anywhere and anytime. E-learning leads to better retentions. E-learning offers personalizations. E-learning is flexible in terms of time or place without physical limitation. Anyone with internal access can simultaneously access learning opportunities. E-learning have some limitations like internet connections, disciplines, distractions, social isolation, personal practical knowledge, etc. My objective and hypothesis of the study is to compare the attitude of male and female BA teachers to compare the attitude of male and female BA teachers trainee towards e-learning, to compare the attitude of science and general STEAM BA teacher trainee towards e-learning, to study the attitude of graduate and postgraduate BA teachers trainee towards e-learning. Hypothesis: there will be no significant difference in mean score of the attitude of male and female BA teachers trainees towards e-learning. There will be no significant difference in mean score of attitude of science and general STEAM of BA teachers trainee towards e-learning. There will be no significant difference in mean score of the attitude of graduate and postgraduate BA teachers trainee towards e-learning. Methodology. The random sampling procedure was used. 50 students from B.Ed College of Kanpur. The attitude towards the e-learning scale was developed by the investigator for the collection of data. The present study was delimited to B.Ed teachers trainee of Kanpur, Deen Dayal College and Bansi College of Education, Kanpur. Along with the level of e-learning, the following independent variables are selected for the study. These are gender, education stream, and level of education. Statistical techniques used: mean and ST of the whole sample, attitude based on the variable of gender, education stream, and level of education. T-test to test the significance of the difference between the variable. Major findings and educational implication of the study. There was no significant difference found between the attitude of B.Ed teachers trainee of males and females towards e-learning. There was a significant difference found between science and the general stream B.Ed teachers trainee towards e-learning. There was a significant difference found between graduate and postgraduate B.Ed teachers trainee towards e-learning. It is observed from the majority of the teacher trainees have positive attitude towards e-learning. The need of the day is to make teachers realize that e-learning is a part of their profession, and it is to great extent by developing a positive attitude towards e-learning. The main aim of the study was to gauge student attitude towards the use of e-learning systems. I analyze their attitude with respect to gender, level of education, and educational esteem. The result shows that there is a highly positive incline of B.Ed student towards the uses of e-learning. Also, the attitude is not affected by a difference in gender. Conclusion: though this study, a humble attempt has been made to know some factors of attitude towards e-learning in B.Ed teachers trainee. The investigator has taken all possible care to give the most realistic input. However, there always remains some limiting factors in each research study, which will surely be overcome by future researchers. Last but not the least, the limited experience of the investigator may have left a few aspects wanting, which may be pardoned. Thank you.
Thank you.
My name is Nachiket and I'm from the Trinity College of Engineering and Research, Pune. And with the affiliation of Pune University, we are doing our project on automated subjective answer evaluation using NLP. So this is the table of content. So talking about introduction, our proposed algorithm of our project provides a semantic meaning of the context in which our system we are gonna take input as a teacher's answer key, in which we are going to extract the data from the scanned images and organize it in the proper manner, and applying the ML and NLP algorithm to retrieve the text. Again, we are going to take input as a student's answer keys, which students are going to write on their own, their answer sheets. And we are again extract the data from those using ML techniques and NLP techniques. And further, we are going to, what we can say, we are going to process that data and evaluate the same using our extracted data. So talking about problem statement, we all know the manual evaluation system of subjective answers for any subjects, we can say technical subjects or other subjects, require a lot of time and effort for the evaluators. And subjective answers have different parameters by which they can be evaluated, such as their specific content or their style of writing, punctuation and all. So evaluating subjective responses is found to be a critical task in which the human effort expended in its repetitive task, and it can be saved, and the lot of time it takes though, so that time can be saved using our system, and the obvious human errors can also be reduced to obtain unbiased result. So literature review, talking about literature review, we just referred some of the best papers which were already done on this subject. Like in 2021, we have referred the subjective answer evaluation using ML and NLP. In this paper, they propose a novel approach to resolve the subjective answers evaluation. And talking about their accuracy, they got near about the 88% accuracy. And we are gonna update that accuracy in our paper. Second was the case-based modeling of answer points to expedite semi-automated evaluation of subjective papers. The paper published in 2018, and they made a model to evaluate subjective answer papers using semi-automated evaluation technique. And for that, they created a question base. Firstly, they created a question base, and then the answer base, which was provided by the evaluator, they evaluated considering the semantic meaning. Again, we referred some of the papers like subjective answer evaluation, AI-based e-assessment system. And talking about these papers, we just got to know there are some limitations to their models. So like talking about the third paper, it will also check the grammar and spelling of the words. But talking about our model, we don't need to check about spellings and all. We are doing on, we are actually focused on technicalities. This was the last paper, adaptive approach on subjective answer evaluation. In this system, there were the stop words removal and generating keywords. So again, we are gonna update in our system that we are gonna talk about take in what we can say, gonna take semantic approach and contextual meaning of the same. So the main objectives are project is to help to solve the problem being faced while evaluation of subjective answers using machine learning and NLP techniques. The project studies various thresholds of answer similarity, measuring matrices, and evaluates the answers, which will be written by the students, and we are going to compare it with the answer key provided by the specific subject teachers, which will help to reinforce the accuracy in final score evaluation, avoiding the human error. So talking about the system architecture, this is basically our system architecture, in which our proposed system architecture will be divided into following modules, like image and PDF processing. In this process, we are gonna take input as image or PDF, and our next text recognition algorithm will extract the required data and convert it into text files. Then next module is answer key pre-processing module. In this module, whichever the answer key provided by the teachers, we are going to pre-process that answer key and extract the keywords or semantic meaning and context from the answer key. The next module will be students answer key pre-processing module, in which the paper student have written in their test or in their exams. We are going to summarize their text. We are going to extract the keywords, and, removing the stop words. And after, we are going to compare that in our score prediction module, in which the both papers and both extracted information will be compared, and the final score will be evaluated. So talking about algorithm analysis, we are using some of the algorithms like convolutional neural networks. And I would say convolutional neural networks has the beauty that if we train our model again and again, it will get more and more accurate. And talking about all the strategies like lemmatization and stemming, topic modeling, keyword extraction, text summarization, bag of words, and tokenization are basically different strategies using in NLP, in which using the natural language processing, we can extract the what we can say important keywords, or summarize the text, or we can get the context according using our algorithm. So this is basically the data flow diagram. In this data will flow according to these blocks, like teacher will first register and log in, and then at level 0 our auto evaluate system will send the packets forward to the admin section, and what we are going to do, we are going to extract the keywords, we will save in that database, we are going to again compare the keywords, and after using our NLP processing model, we are going to do all this process. This is basically a level 0. In level 1 approach, there will be request from the teacher to the login module, and from our database we are gonna fetch all the data from the teacher's IDs, so that teacher can do further processes like answer key providation of a student's answer key, and that data will be stored again in our database. And with using our NLP techniques and our algorithm, we are gonna compare all the information, and we are gonna evaluate the answers. Same for the level 2. It will be work as before. So talking about the future scope, so in order to provide the best possible experience for students, we have designed our system after taking into consideration all their requirements. So the system can be extended further to provide a forum for discussion, where all the students can take the suggestions or what we can say discuss in the respective groups to improve their what you can say their record, and get the feedback for their particular subject with scope of improvement of the student. And there will be no single so there is no single software which is considered as complete software. So there are new requirements daily, and this will represent themselves in future also. So we are trying to match our software with changing requirements. So talking about conclusion, our platform provides seamless subjective assessment of answers. The system provides an easy way to evaluate the answers written by the student against the solutions provided by the experienced teachers, and saves the time of the teachers in manually checking the lengthy subjective answers. The project has a very broad scope for the future, and the project can be updated in the near future as soon as there is a requirement for the same. It is very flexible in the terms of expansion. And again, we can say we are gonna improve the human error, basically, which will be in manual testing. So basically, these were the references we used for the pre-research, and that was all from our side. Thank you.
Greetings from Malaysia, and good day to conference organizers and all participants. I am Mei Ting Chong from University Malaysia Sarawak, Malaysia, and I would like to share our paper on the digital connectivity in making Indonesia 4.0 a priority for digital transformation. Digitalization is a pillar of Indonesia Maju, which means onward Indonesia as their main focus from this year onward, in order to advancing in their digital economy and finance. The Director of Program and Digitalizations at Indonesia Chamber of Commerce and Industry, Kiki Rizky, actually presented an agenda article at the World Economic Forum Annual Meeting 2022, mentioned that Indonesia had reached more than 200 million internet users and contributing $70 billion to its digital economy in year 2021. While Google, Temasek, and Bain Company collaborated a report their research on economy of Southeast Asia in 2021, they highlighted that Indonesia has become the largest digital economy nation in the Southeast Asia region in terms of gross merchandise value in year 2021. And by 2025, Indonesia has great potential to surpass other Southeast Asia countries in terms of gross merchandise value performance. However, Indonesia is still facing the internet access issue, which is imbalances internet connection between urban and rural areas that makes digital divide getting obvious to be seen in the country. Thus, the current problem motivates us to examine the performance of digital connectivity in Indonesia. And we would like to show the performance in terms of score, just like we take exam in high school, and from the score we get, we know whether poor or well we perform in that particular subject of study. In the past, quite some researchers actually study on technological advancement and also digital connectivity topics in Asian countries, but less focus on Indonesia. So this further inspires us to bring the light to Indonesia following their new policy to recover their economy based on digital economy and finance. We had actually identified 3 key areas, 6 enablers, and 23 indicators that make up the digital connectivity in Indonesia. All our data are taken from globally reliable sources such as International Telecommunication Union and also World Bank. The final index that we calculate, we actually name it as Indonesia Digital Connectivity Index. This is the flow of how we did our research. We do data treatments such as testing the skewness and kurtosis on the data, and then we normalize the data set since we have 23 indicators with different units of measurement. So it is necessary to normalize the data. After normalization, we continue with aggregations of data, and we use 3 methods, which include arithmetic mean, geometric mean, and also entropy method. Our key findings show that all the 6 enablers are strongly correlated with each other, means that they are all relevant and important in measuring digital connectivity index of Indonesia. We calculate the performance of Indonesia Digital Connectivity Index for 7 years from 2014 to 2020. And this figure can clearly show that how Indonesia performed in terms of 6 digital connectivity enablers in each year. And we can observe whether Indonesia had improved from year to year through the figure illustrations. In short, Indonesia had indeed improved in digital connectivity performance from year to year, but the improvements level are different and a little bit imbalanced in each enabler for the past 7 years. And now we calculated the Indonesia Digital Connectivity Index using 3 aggregation methods as mentioned just now, and we take the average of the 3 indices and finally calculated the Indonesia Digital Connectivity Index IDCI as shown in this table. Our robustness test of using these 3 aggregation methods and average show that the results are actually showing the similar trend. So we hereby conclude that Indonesia can focus on 3 areas that are international linkages, domestic cable network, and 4G infrastructure to improve their digital connectivity in future. Improving digital skills among Indonesia's population will remain a key priority for narrowing the digital divide in the country. And lastly, we would like to extend our appreciation to the supports from our Ministry of Higher Education, that is Kementerian Pengajian Tinggi Malaysia, and the Fundamental Research Grant Scheme and University Malaysia Sarawak. That's all from me. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for your wonderful presentation, ma'am. We'll be in touch. Please share your email address. We will discuss about the same in coming days. Thank you.
Greetings to everyone present here. I am Roshan Raj Bhujil, a PhD research scholar from Manipal Institute of Management, which is in India. So today I'm going to present on a topic, a paper on sustainable agriculture practices. So the title is Adoption of Sustainable Agriculture Practices, a pilot study. So this was a pilot study done under the supervision of Dr. H.G. Joshi, who is a professor at Manipal Institute of Management. So starting with the introduction, sustainability has become a very hot topic for the past decade or so, because as the climatic crisis has increased and the population is growing day by day, now we are soon going to, India is soon going to be the largest populated country in the world. So the food system is also getting impacted along with the environmental impacts. So sustainability in agriculture is very, very important. At the same time, it is highly complex, and there are very less farmers who want to adopt sustainable practices, because they are a little reluctant, because they have been always practicing conventional form of agriculture, which uses a lot of fertilizers, which may not be sustainable in the near future. So therefore, this research, because we want to understand the behavioral factors as to why farmers are not willing to adopt sustainable agriculture practices, even though this is the need of the hour. So this research basically is a pilot study where we use the theory of plant behavior model, which is a psychological model, to understand the adoption intention of the farmers towards sustainable practices in a small state in India, which is Sikkim. Sikkim is the first organic state in the world, recognized by the United Nations in the year 2019. So therefore, since this is the model state in the whole of the world, so we decided to do our pilot study in this state in India. So we used the theory of plant behavior model. And since this is a pilot study, we chose a small sample of 50 farmers in the state of Sikkim. And during the months of October to December 2021, we distributed questionnaires and collected the data from the farmers in Sikkim. So the hypothesis, since this is a pilot study, was just to test the linear relationships between subjective norms, perceived behavior control, and attitude. So the null hypothesis was that it has no linear relationship, and the hypothesis was that it has a linear relationship in the model. So the data analysis, we used descriptive and inferential techniques. So we used ANOVA regression test, simple and multinomial logistic statistics using SPSS version 25. The descriptive results, it shows that majority are male, which is 70%, and the participants only 30% were female. And most farmers are in the middle-aged range, somewhere around 45 to 50. And mostly the household size is limited to 4 to 7 people. And most farmers at least had a minimum of a primary school education. And the farming size was in the range of 1 acre to 5 acres. So most of the farmers had a sizable area of land for farming. And most farmers we surveyed were experienced over 15 years. So when we tested the reliability test to test the consistency of the instruments, we had a very good Convac alpha values. As we can see, for intention, it was 0.79, attitude 0.76. So all of them, including subjective norms and perceived behavior, were reliable and consistent. So we tested the correlation and we found that the variables are very highly correlated. So there is a strong positive correlation among the variables. And the test of linearity shows a very significant relationship between subjective norms, attitude, and perceived behavioral control. The results reveal a significant relationship between subjective norms, perceived behavioral control, and attitude on intention towards adopting sustainable agriculture practices among organic farmers in Sikkim. Then we did a multi-normal logistic regression. In this, there was a significant relation between attitude of farmers and intention towards adopting sustainable agriculture practices. And there also was a significant relation between subjective norms and intention when we took the reference category as disagree. And when we took the reference category as agree, subjective norms is very significant. When we take the reference category as strongly agree, we find that perceived behavioral control has a very significant result there. And ultimately, coming to the conclusion and the findings of the study, we found that there are more male farmers than female farmers, and most of them had at least a primary education level. And we found that the scales that we are using are consistent and are reliable. And the results showed that the survey instruments are reliable and consistent. And at the inferential level of analysis, we have a very significant relationship between attitude and intention, subjective norms and intention, and perceived behavioral control and intention. And these are the references. And finally, I would like to thank all of you for your time. Thank you very much.
Thank you for your wonderful presentation and your efforts.